Welcome to Photo Finds. I am your host Kevin, and this week we are getting started at Disney's Animal Kingdom, where a couple of weeks ago this appeared. This blue sign which says Disney Resort guests go over into this particular corner. Let's take a closer look over there, and you'll see that these are the My Magic Plus, or the Magic Wristband way, RFID way, if you will, of entering the park. Now, as you see, there's no turnstiles particularly. It's just this V-shaped area where people scan their device, which is a card at the moment, and then make their way past the cast members. Now, Disney just announced recently that this will be replaced soon by a wristband, something many people have known for a while, and part of the program will also be your ability to prepay or to pre-make reservations for rides. Looking our way around the park, this is the storage lockers that are new to me, at least. I don't know how long they have been there, near the Kali River Rapids. It's probably been there for some months because I don't come back here all that often. Over into the animal trails, this is in the Africa side. This is in the Asia side, and this is the Komodo dragon enclosure, and as you see, they've added a new exhibit, which is the skull of the dragon, or what a dragon skull would look like, so that the animal handlers have something to talk about when there's no animal outside during the winter months. Around the corner, the tapir exhibit has no actual tapir in it. In fact, there's no animal in it at the moment. So, since we're here in Animal Kingdom, I took a picture of the Kodak photo locations, since those are scheduled to be going away sometime soon. They expired in 2012. But I thought while I was here, I would also mention a few of the other photo locations. Here's one at the beginning of Epcot, one in the Magic Kingdom. There's many, of course, in all of the parks, and eventually all of those signs will be taken away. Back to Animal Kingdom. After the Tree of Life, you've probably seen this before. It's the Kids Discovery Zone area on a little island unto itself. This is now completely walled off. For a while there, it was temporarily walled off, and they've made the wall kind of permanent. So it looks like this will never again be a Kids Discovery area. This is undoubtedly related to the adding of nets under the Tree of Life because a branch from the tree had fallen. This is now in the quote-unquote danger zone, so no one can go out there anymore. Now, these photos were taken on New Year's Eve, and I thought I would share with you what the crush of humanity looks like if you've never been on a truly high-impact day to the Disney parks. This is not the main entrance itself. This is the bag check. So there are two bag checkers underneath this zone here. I'm not sure how easy they are to see. They're kind of hidden. And this long crush of people waiting to get their bags checked. So we went around the corner to the other side where there are something like 6 bag checkers. And then I raised my camera to take this picture. And as you can see, it was a very, very crowded day on New Year's Eve. And on New Year's Eve, special events like this, they set up, at least this year, they set up fences so that extra fireworks viewing could be found in the grassy areas that are normally off limits. Mission Space Orange, 135 minutes. Now, curiously, the slide right before this that I didn't include showed Mission Space Green, just a 10-minute wait on New Year's Eve. Test Track, 150 minutes. Not too bad, a few hours. Though Soarin' is 250 minutes. As you can see here, I guess it doesn't look so good zoomed in. 250 minutes is 4 hours long, and people will actually wait in a line like that. I don't know that I've included some pictures of the new character spot in Epcot. It's moved away from the fountain area to what was once the museum area. And now you've got some of the Fab Five that you can take pictures of with this wonderfully retro image in the background. This being New Year's Eve, they had to distribute the hats and noisemakers at some point, and there are 3 such distribution areas on New Year's Eve. There's another one of those Kodak photo locations, and there are those noisemakers and hats for 2013. Now we've switched over to the area near downtown Disney where Typhoon Lagoon is undergoing its annual refurbishment. This year the refurbishment includes some work done on the roads, not so easy to see here, so they've blocked off the entire area with barricades rather than just closing down the park itself. The roads are being redone on the way into Typhoon Lagoon. New Fantasyland is now on the cover of the Magic Kingdom maps, and remember the maps used to be sponsored by Kodak, so they had to get new maps. And this is a composite image, as you can see Belle and the Maurice Cottage and the castle, all drawn from the more famous image that they're also selling as a lithograph, but they've recomposited them here for the map cover. Now let's go into Maurice's Cottage and Enchanted Tales with Belle. I noticed a detail this time that it's been there the whole time, I just hadn't noticed it before. This is presumably Belle being read to by her mother, and what Belle is reading is The story here, La Belle au Bois Dormant, which is hard to read in that angle, which is actually represented as a physical prop elsewhere in the room, La Belle au Bois Dormant, which you might think is a story about Belle. It's not. It's a story of, reading it literally here, the beauty in the woods that are asleep, the beauty in the sleeping woods, or Sleeping Beauty. So Belle is reading the story of Sleeping Beauty, or it's having read to her, and the book remains in her house going forward. There's that shot again, this time from a different angle. Now on the ground, or on the table that is opened another book, Le Song d'une Femme from 1899. Now this is not a Disney story or a Disney movie. It does feature the charming prince, Le Prince Charmant, which could be a nod to Disney, I suppose, with Prince Charming. But more importantly, this is the book that Belle is reading in her movie. So you see Belle at the fountain with the sheep, waxing poetic about romance and so on. And this is the book that she's clutching. So they've made a prop out of it in the Belle cottage. And one more detail from this cottage. This is over your head if you're standing front and center waiting for the magic mirror to open up. It's, of course, a hidden Mickey when seen from a certain angle. This is what it looks like if the wardrobe is not functioning as an animatronic. There's no face up here. It's just covered up. And since my child participated in Belle, I wanted to see what it was they got. They get this bookmark. As you can see, you'll always be part of my story, says Belle on one side of the bookmark, and on the other, Enchanted Tales with Belle. Of course, my 5-year-old later dropped the bookmark, so I was glad that I had a photograph of it by the end of the day. Walked by the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh and saw this oddity. The wait time sign was turned off electronically, and they were using a paper version here, which looks like it's somewhat permanent. Maybe there are problems with the other one that made them go to this backup system. Over by the Cheshire Cafe, which is getting a new sign, this sign for the restrooms has been repainted, or perhaps is brand new, and indeed all of these signs around the entrance to the restrooms are themselves brand new as well. Over to the area by Space Mountain, where the former Skyway building, now has been restrooms for some time, is also for face painting. We'll take a closer look here at the face painting options. They've got a couple of different setups there, and it looks like a pretty permanent setup, although they could move it, I guess, at any particular point. This is new. On the walkway back to the Storybook Circus, you'll find here a dog park, and this is a pretty big dog park, actually, if you look at how much space that takes up. Now, of course, dogs aren't allowed unless they are service animals, so this must be the main service animal dog park. There's a smaller one here near the Liberty Square issue of Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. That's what that podium is for there. This little corner, and that does not go back far at all, it is tiny, is also, as you can see, for service animals. Now, while we were in Storybook Circus, I had a look around the back side and the side of the restrooms, and some of these posters were new to me. This is another mention of Carolwood Park. Carolwood, of course, being the drive on which Walt Disney lived in Holmby Hills when he built his original home railroad system, and arguably was kind of the inspiration for Disneyland to begin with. A lot more theming going on here. I don't recall seeing this receiving sign before, or this pulley system, so they've added some additional props to the area. Now, stepping into the character tent, this is the first room, the first queue room, and as you see, there are props around the side. Now, these weren't here when this area first opened up. Only the painting on the sides, on the walls themselves were there. These props were not there before, and there's a prop for Donald, a prop for the Goofy, and then on the other side, a prop for the Minnie and a prop for the props for the Daisy that have to do with what you'll see when you're inside the attraction itself. I thought that was a neat addition. So, looking into the circus tent souvenir shop, don't think I've taken photos of the Oswald hats before, but they are like the Mickey Mouse hats, celebrating Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. A Dumbo picture I've not taken before of the Dumbo merchandise available. I like that they have merchandise for specific attractions. And this was definitely new to me, a pin trading board, which is actually a set of plastic popcorn buckets with these kind of pin cushions that they use to put the pins on. So this is an interesting idea. And we saw a variation of that elsewhere. This is the variation over by Splash Mountain, where now it's a washboard that's holding the pins. So it's really a very themed place to put pins out on. And I thought that added a little something to the experience. Now we're still in Fantasyland here, and these have been out for a few weeks, but I don't think I've ever really taken close-up pictures of all of them. These are the construction wall murals, just there to give a little bit more character to what you're seeing on the construction walls. But notice that they tie in to the attraction that they are very close to. So in this case, this appears on the construction wall mural, the Seven Dwarfs coaster, where it intersects with the Mad Tea Party. So Alice in Wonderland painting the roses red, and here you have the dwarfs painting the roses red. Over by Winnie the Pooh, you see this mural with the Pooh's balloon and then the honey and then the dwarfs. Or this one over by Enchanted Tales with Belle, with Lumiere as well as the Beast's clothing as props for the dwarfs. Or over by The Little Mermaid, right, with the Dinglehopper and the beard, and then building a sandcastle built to look like Eric's castle. And then this one over by Dumbo, which has both popcorn for the circus and Dumbo's feathers specifically. Now they've also added at the same time these places where you can take a peek right through. They've got some glass set up here, and you can see the construction below. And so I thought I'd show you a few pictures of what the construction looks like without the walls in the way. And I think I've shown a couple of these before. These, however, were taken from this most recent weekend, so they're kind of really up to date. This piece of track in particular is brand new. There it is from a wider angle. So that back wall is now open. The connection over to Storybook Circus on the one side and Ariel's area on the other. And this is what the walls look like when they're taken away. This is still on the Seven Dwarfs side, but it matches the bridge on the Be Our Guest side. A little bit around the corner from there, facing Gaston's Tavern, the rockwork has taken on a slightly different look. Most of the area is still covered up by fences. Here's an area that is not covered up by fences. You can see the more permanent adobe-looking walls. Some backside there of the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster. And now we've gone elsewhere in Fantasyland. This is the Rapunzel area, which will be the bathrooms. And as you can see, it's taking on a thatched look here. It kind of reminds me actually of the Mad Hatter shop over in Disneyland, which has that same thatched roof. Splash Mountain is dry, as the sign informs us. And as we can see by looking at a picture, they wasted no time in ripping things apart. This is a multi-month refurbishment they're doing on Splash Mountain. So we'll zoom in a little bit and you can see what some of this, what you've been seeing all these years as show scenes is really just a thin layer over this mesh, metal mesh layout. And so that can and will be ripped up when they need to access the innards below. So zooming back out and then zooming in again here, you see they're working quite a bit and rather extensively on the drop itself. These are people not on the ride, but crossing that bridge in front of Splash Mountain. Over by the corner where the exit of Big Thunder is, I hadn't been over here in many months, but it seemed to me that the smoking area was dramatically expanded, especially this walkway towards the front. So this could have been here for a couple of years, folks. It's just possible that I hadn't been over here. But it was new to me, so I thought I would include it. That does it for this week. We will